Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about how Game Rant is saying that the CW Arrowverse could live on in an MMO. I know I've been talking a lot about the Arrowverse lately, and I'm sorry if that it's getting tiresome with you guys, me just talk about the Arrowverse a lot lately, but as it's potentially ending, all these I've been fighting all these articles that are really interesting, fascinating for me, and I want to share them with you. And this is one of them. Like I've been keeping up with the Arrowverse. I watched all the Arrowverse shows plus Superman Lois, who's loosely in the Arrowverse now, and Stargirl, who I would enjoy seeing in Arrowverse, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so an Arrowverse game that's an MMO, an Arrowverse game. That's pretty exciting. That's interesting to say. So it says, it's fair to say things have been a little turbulent for DC over the last few months. Following the comic books icon owners Warner Bros. Merging with Discovery, almost all of his projects have been thrown into a degree of doubt. Even though games like Gotham Knights are now gearing up for release, DC live-action plans have been completely upended. Between the cancellations of the 2022 DC fandoms and the ongoing woes surrounding the DCEU, fans are currently unsure what form its future TV shows and movies will take. And yeah, the whole DC universe is a hot mess right now. One corner of the DC multiverse that arguably typifies the best of the Arrowverse and border Arrowverse. Wait, what? Okay. That was confusing, but okay. Although Arrow and its combined series of TV shows have been praised on numerous occasions, it looks like as though the CW's experiment is about to come to an end, at least on the small screen. For a long list of reasons, it is easy to believe that the Arrowverse could live in different forms. And MMO is, in particular, could be the ideal way for the shows like The Flash, Batwoman, and Supergirl to carry on into the future. The Arrowverse fate. In a lot of ways, the CW's Arrowverse was ahead of its time. While DC was struggling to create a shared live-action universe for its characters on the big screen that could rival Marvel's MCU, the TV network arguably excelled on the same front. Following the success launch of Arrow in 2012, being 10 years ago officially next month, a long list of characters and series have followed in the wake of Oliver Queen. So much so that 7 years later, the universe that incorporated the hero's alter ego into its name was Nemo, love you too. Name was able to convincingly adapt the iconic Crisis of Infinite Earths comic book storyline. Although the multi-episode crossover was able to bring together Superman, The Flash, Black Lightning, and a laundry list of other heroes, its achievements have failed to safeguard the Arrowverse in the long run. Thanks for several factors behind the scenes, during an early months of 2022, the CW started to cancel most of its superhero-themed programs. With DC's ownership currently restructuring the publisher's output, the top to bottom, all signs point to the Arrowverse ending in the format that fans have come to know. It stands right now that the only Arrowverse show still in production is The Flash, which is being given a final season to wrap up its stories. Although Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tolko Cho, I apologize if I mispronounce the names, like Superman Lois once started out as part of the Arrowverse, DC has gone to great lengths to sever those connections. It could still easily take place on a different Earth. Let's be real. Because they're talking about what Lois Lane's father said in season 2 about Superman's the only superhero on Earth. So, yeah. Similarly, the network's upcoming Gotham Knights show is entirely just a standalone project. That means when Barry Allen's series reaches its season finale and series finale, the combined universe will fall silent in live action. The Arrowverse MMO's potential. Just because the Arrowverse time on the small screen appears to be ending, that doesn't mean that fans have seen the last of the characters. Being a comic book publisher, it's a little surprised that DC has frequently extended the life of its shows in print. The CW's own Smallville, for example, famously received a post-TV run that even featured an unrecognizable Justice League roster. While comic books therefore seem like a route DC would eventually explore, the gaming industry could provide an equal-fitting alternative to the form of MMO. Thanks to the Arrowverse interconnected nature, characters, and locales, it's easy to imagine an MMO based on it being received well. After all, most of the groundwork making a theatrical universe feel believable and enticing has already been done on screen over the last decade. In a similar vein, superheroes and their eclectic mix of otherworldly powers also suit a medium such as gaming remarkably well. Players only have to look at the success of the Arkham and Injustice franchises for evidence for that. So the Arkham games, the Batman Arkham games, were really, really fun. I've been a fan of the Arkham games since Arkham Asylum came out on the PlayStation 3, and I did play Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. And the Arkham-verse, as some people call the Batman Arkham games, is one of the best series ever, in my opinion, in terms of games. And the Injustice games is so great. I cannot wait for Injustice 3 to come out. If you guys have not seen the cutscenes or played the games, I highly suggest doing that with the Arkham games and the Injustice games, because both games are fantastic. I don't know why I said fantastic like that, but it's great. From a simple premise and mechanical perspective, then, all the keys, concepts, and pieces are already in place for an Arrowverse MMO to succeed. Even some of the theatrical limitations of the genre wouldn't necessarily be major stumbling blocks. The idea that players cannot always play as their favorite licensed heroes in MMOs can be resolved by the Arrowverse's own composition. Most of the universe superheroes have support teams, so creating a new powered member of one of those that would be a fight alongside a mentor could be a solid one. And admittedly, I would love to see like I'm gonna throw Green Arrow out there. I know like Earth Prime's Green Arrow's dead, but I'm just gonna throw Green Arrow out there, for example. I would so love to see a Green Arrow game that the combat is in the same style as the Arkham games and in the PS4 Spider-Man game. I would love to see a Flash game. Since Legends of Tomorrow is not getting its last season, I would be open for them to have wrap their story arc in one last showdown, but in a video game form or a comic book. Like, before I continue, the Arrowverse, like, thankfully there's like comic books that like they could go the comic route, ending the set stories that were canceled. The canceled shows were couldn't do exactly that. That makes sense. Like Legends of Tomorrow and Black Lightning. Or they could do in games. I would so be up to playing the games. And ooh, I would so be up to playing new game in the Arrowverse. As a gamer, I would totally give that a try. Anywho, let me stop going to La La Land and actually finish this article, shall we? If DC and the CW need further proof of how viable an Arrowverse MMO could be, there's a list of contemporary examples that both parties could look into, even though their general themes and mechanics are different. Star Trek once underwent a similar crisis as the one approaching the Arrowverse. Following the polarizing reception of Enterprise in the early 2000s, the iconic sci-fi series vanished from the small screen in 2005. The prime timeline wouldn't return to TV until 2017's Star Trek Discovery. For long stretches of gap, however, the Star Trek Online MMO was entertaining fans with brand new adventures within the universe they loved. I played the Star Trek Online MMO game back when I first got my PlayStation 4. I'm not too knowledgeable about Star Trek, so I can't really call myself like a huge Trekkie. If I'm a Trekkie, I'm more like a normie type Trekkie, if that makes sense. I've only seen like a season of Next Generation, but I'm working my way through the series as I'm recording this video. But even as a normie, the Star Trek Online MMO was fun. It was fun when I played it. And if you guys are a Star Trek fan, assuming this game's still up, I highly suggest you guys get in it. Highly suggest. Anywho, this ain't a Star Trek video. Let's continue. There is reason to believe that once the dust settles on DC restructuring plans, a similar Arrowverse project could be possible. Thanks to Greg Berlanti's continuing role within the publisher live-action projects, one of the key minds behind the initial formation of the universe is still around. Theoretically, at least, there's a chance that he could help out the storyline, planning, and other aspects of the development. Finding an appropriate studio to create the theoretical MMO, on the other hand, could be the biggest stumbling block. Between games like Wonder Woman and Gotham Knights, most of WB's teams are currently occupied. There's a Wonder Woman game that's coming out? Oh! I still gotta play that then, because Wonder Woman's my favorite Justice League member. Then comes Martian Manhunter. Then comes Batman tied with Green Arrow. And Superman. But yeah. Anywho, provided that a development studio can be found that's got the time needed to nurture an MMO, there's reason to believe that the DC and its owner will allow an Arrowverse game to thrive. It's worth keeping in mind that it wouldn't be the publisher's first attempt at a superhero MMO. That's because back in 2011, DC Universe Online launched on PC and PS3. Although that game has faded from the forefront of public attention in recent years, it's still being updated to this day. And I have to say, before I finish this article out, DC Universe Online is so much fun. It's so much fun. It takes Brainiac, invading Earth, deals a little bit of time travel, you get to make your own character, and you get to be a villain or a hero. But regardless of which side you're at, the ultimate goal is to try to thwart off Brainiac's control. Now, if you're a hero, you do more heroic stuff. If you're a villain, you do more villain stuff. And oh my god, that game was so much fun when I played it. I might have to re-download DC Universe Online just so I can stream on this channel. The problem is, for me, DC Universe Online takes up like a crap ton of memory space, right? That means I would have to delete about half the games I play. But that game's so much fun. If you guys, I highly recommend playing DC Universe Online. It's really fun. Anywho, from a storytelling gameplay and success footing, then most of the work has already been done for an MMO based on Arrow and its CW peers to happen. Now, I would be open for an Arrowverse MMO. I think it would be great. It could be great. And like this article said, it could prove a way. It could prove a good way to keep the Arrowverse alive and essentially breathe new life in the Arrowverse. If that makes sense. And like I said, it could that could serve as what could have been Legends of Tomorrow series finale. Is that they made a Legends of Tomorrow game as a conclusion to the Legends of Tomorrow show series finale. It could have us be the Flash, continue the Flash story. It could could continue the Barry Allen story, or it could have us follow Wally West, because Wally West is Kid Flash, and we haven't had much adventures with Wally West, so it would be interesting to see Wally, what would Wally West have done if we had a Kid Flash show. And that canceled show that was going to be centered around Mia Queen, I think it was called Green Arrow and the Canaries. Anymore, that could have that could live through a game series. And maybe, who knows, maybe if they made Green Arrow and the Canaries show game, that could spark interest in having a Green Arrow and the Canaries show. So yeah, could the Arrowverse MMO or having video games in the universe potentially save the Arrowverse? Sure. Could it revitalize some love of the Arrowverse? Sure. I mean, I'll be all for it. But like I said, the Arrowverse has always been one of my favorite the Arrowverse has been one of my favorite shared universes, even though I'm not a big fan of Batwoman. I think Batwoman's the weakest link, but yeah, this could easily be the savior, the White Knight that the Arrowverse could have, if that makes sense. But what do you guys think? Do you guys want an Arrowverse MMO, Arrowverse game or games? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you guys later. Later, taters.